This episode may contain language or discussions that may be offensive or triggering. Refer to the episode summary for details. Welcome to the SheConfidential podcast. My name is Charlene Ketchum, and today I'm chatting with Ashley Swain, and she is a motivational speaker and self-love coach. I've been following your page since before I even started She Confidential,
Oh,
and so on Facebook I actually follow you from my personal page, just because somehow you know how people show up, like it'll recommend things, and you
mhm.
a post you had years ago was recommended, and I was like, oh, okay, she be keeping it real.
Ah,
And so I ended up following you on
uh-huh.
there. Then when I started She Confidential, I was following you under She Confidential on Instagram. So I've been following your page for a while.
Oh, that's
So
so cool.
thank you for all that you do, because I love that you're just so authentic and just inspiring. And that's a delicate, not, it's not something you see often on social media.
Hmm.
Like people show you like how fabulous their
Yes,
life is all the time, but they don't necessarily talk about their struggles. And if they do, it's in conjunction with selling something.
exactly.
So
Yes,
it's like, but you are being like she's showing up like real
yeah.
as Ashley, and showing up as this businesswoman and as a wife and as a mom and just as a human. And so I really appreciate that. And I wanted to mention, like, yeah, I've been following you since before because that resonated with me, and it looks like it resonates with your audience too,
Yeah.
because the engagement and the things people share. So first, thank you for doing that, for being having that platform for
Well,
us.
you're welcome, and I appreciate being on here. And it's crazy because it's just like people have been hitting me back to back on my direct messages or messenger, and just like, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Oh, I love this quote. I love what you said." I'm like, "Wow, I'm really making an impact," and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to always show the highlight reel. I didn't want to always be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my life is great," all the time,
Yep.
because life is life, and it's lifing. Okay. Life is
Mhm.
lifing, and
Yes.
and I just wanted to have that real conversation, um, and for people to really just
Mhm.
connect, not just to be like in a, I guess I would say, not everything to be sad either, but to just have
Right.
somebody to feel. I wanted to be someone that somebody could feel like I know her, like I know her, I
Yep.
know who she is, you know. So I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that. And we need that because you know, society, we're really obsessed
Yeah.
with being nosy with other people's lives. I'm that person. I look at media takeout, I look at TMZ and all that stuff. I'm really interested in the celebrity gossip,
Hmm.
and you have all these different social media influencers, and it can become hard to discern what's real
Yeah.
versus what is just being packaged for you to consume
Yeah.
something or to purchase something.
Yeah.
And it's made it really intense too, because people see all those things and they think that's who I'm supposed to be. I need to try to level up. Something's wrong with me because I'm not vibing like that.
Right.
And it's people have a love hate relationship with social media as a result.
Yeah.
And so I mean, why do you think that we are so influenced and obsessed with the lives of strangers? Because that's really what social media is about for the most part.
I think more of it, I think most of it is that we got this phone in our hand. I think that we are overloaded with a lot of access to people's lives. And
Yeah.
I think part of it is a little bit of boredom, kind of. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
you watch like Netflix all day and it's just one show after another, or you're kind of binging it. And I
Yeah.
think we're kind of binging on other people's lives because it's easy access. I had to kind of stop
Yeah.
myself from getting on the phone immediately or putting my phone across the room when I get up, because my
Yeah.
first thought is, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening? What's new?" Instead of checking in with
Yeah.
myself. So I think it's just because we're overloaded with access to other people's lives. So
Yeah.
that's what I would think it is.
Yeah.
And just kind of, what's going on? What's going on? I don't know. I think it's probably that.
Yeah. What has been, so this is me being nosy. So like what has been your guilty pleasure with social media? Like who are you following in terms of like celebrity news and things? Or are you into that? Are you into like the celebrity
I'm
stuff?
not really into like, I do like a little gossip here and there, but I'm really into Tiffany Haddish. I like watching her because she's super funny. I
Yeah.
relate a lot to her story. Um, so I like her. But she really hasn't been knowing much of anything other than, well, she's done a couple more shows, but I just like
Yeah.
her. I like watching her. I like looking at poetry. I know that sounds kind of funny. People just saying doing poetry. So I like that. But I mean, I'm human. I like to,
Yeah.
balance it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that you mentioned one of the things that I'm learning just as I'm getting into social media more, especially with like being open.
Hmm.
Because prior to that, like my social media personal pages have very small followings and they're
Hmm.
private pages, and I'm really particular about what I put on my personal pages.
Hmm.
But since I've started She Confidential, it's I've been sharing more on there than I've ever shared just on my personal page. And so it's a balance
Yeah,
to determine like what you want to put out there for public consumption and being clear about your intentions behind
yeah.
it. And so how do you balance that as a business owner and professional?
I feel like for me, uh, I want to show myself. Like, I want to show myself. I don't feel like there's anything that I haven't shared. I shared, I think, well, had been like 2 years ago. I feel like this whole pandemic has messed up my time frame, but the last 2 years, I know when I was pregnant with my, it's like, is it 2022? But
Yeah, I know. We like it feels like we lost two
it's like,
years or we had two
ugh,
really long 2 years.
this is a
Yes.
very long 2 years. But early on, when I was
Yeah.
pregnant, I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter, and I was on. I don't know if I can say this on here, but
Oh
I
yeah.
wanted to unalive myself,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I shared that because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people need to realize that mental
Yeah.
health is very serious. And just
It is.
because I'm smiling on one post doesn't mean that I'm not going through some things. So when you
Right.
say, how do I balance it all? I know when I thought about doing it, I had a lot of people in my ear
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, don't say that. That's very negative. But I felt like it needed to be said.
That's
And I
real.
wasn't doing it for people to say, oh, sorry, Ashley, or poor Ashley. I was doing it
Right.
for other women to come forward and to talk and to speak about what's going on internally. So I do think it's a delicate
Yeah.
balance. The most that I think that I'm a little bit more delicate with is my kids. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of, I would never share anything. My son, he's 6. You probably will see this in my page. My daughter's 2. So she's just living her life. She likes taking pictures like mommy. But my son, him being 6, he is not really off of the pictures all the time. So I think that would be the
Yeah.
only thing that I kind of pull back on, listening to him saying, Mommy, I don't want to take a picture. I think that's kind of the most I'm a little bit more sacred
Yeah.
about their personal space. So, but me,
Right.
I'm pretty much an open book. That's what I want to be. That's what my brand is on. So hopefully
Yeah.
that doesn't
And
backfire.
yeah. Well, somebody I heard some great advice from someone once that it's okay to share things that you are have healed from
Yeah,
or that you're in the process, you're a good way through the healing
yeah,
journey. And so that way it's not something that's going to be a trigger for you. It's not something that somebody can use against you.
right.
And that's as long as we're just really discerning and figuring out where we are in our healing journey, because we have to be careful not to trauma bond with other
Yes,
people because it's
yes,
really easy to do that on social media too. But I appreciate you sharing your journey because we know that depression is real, and I'm not saying that giving you a diagnosis, but I'm just saying
yeah,
in general we know that depression is real, and we know that a lot of black women in general, but I'm speaking specifically about black women because that's the target audience for She Confidential. But a lot of black women struggle with postpartum depression
yes.
and we don't talk about
Nope.
it. And so people have these feelings and they think they're alone because nobody's ever named it
Yeah,
or acknowledged it before. And so you sharing your experience, I'm sure that was an eye opener for women because now they had somebody else that said, you know what you're feeling is real
yeah,
and you can get through this. I'm getting through this and it's okay to talk about it.
yeah,
And that's part of helping people heal. So I thank you for being willing to share that experience because that's how we help heal each
yeah,
other. I mean, it's great to look fabulous. Like, You always look fabulous, even when you working out. Like you look fabulous on your social media. But we also have to show that other side of it because life ain't always
No,
pretty.
it's
It's
so
just
true.
not.
It's so there, so
And
true.
that's the real part of it.
Yes.
How did you get to that space where you were able to just be comfortable enough in yourself to be able to share? Because there's a degree of comfort and personal confidence that you have to even be able to share and be transparent with other people, because you first got to be transparent and real with yourself.
Hmm.
So have you always been that way?
I feel like I have. I had to really get out of my mind of. I really had to get to the point where I really didn't care about what people thought. I know that sound everybody says that, but it's a real thing. Like you
Mhm.
really got to get
Yeah.
out of your head when it comes to people's
Mm-hmm.
perception of you. You got to get out of your head because sometimes you just make it up. You made that up, but the other time they don't like you or they don't. They feel like I know a
Yeah.
lot of people in my family got to be like, is Ashley really sharing this or is she? Because I talk about a lot about stuff in my family as well, and I know
Mm-hmm.
they probably don't like some of the things, but I feel like it's about my healing, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds,
Yeah.
if I'm coming off a little bit more harsh, but I have to heal.
Mm.
And if
Yeah.
you don't like what I'm talking about, then maybe you should have done better or differently in my story, and that goes for
Yeah.
people. I think that really just goes for people that have had trauma growing up and they're scared to speak about what has happened to them because they're scared, oh,
Mm-hmm.
somebody may say something, or their friends may want to have this
Yeah.
upcoming image and they don't want to mess that up. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hopefully that makes sense what I'm trying to
No,
say.
it yeah, no, it absolutely does. It makes me think of, and I repeat this phrase so often because it's so true, that whole idea of what happens in this house stays in this
Yes.
house kind of thing. And that's hard for us to
Yeah.
overcome. And when we start talking about sharing my truth,
Yeah.
everybody's not going to like your truth, and everybody's not going to have the same perception of your truth because they didn't experience it.
Right.
You experienced it from your point of view. And so I understand, like, we're all going to be in different stages of our healing journeys.
Right.
So some people would rather, you're happy now, you're good, Ashley, you beautiful, you
Yeah.
got a family and everything, why are you talking about
It
that?
goes on. It's
Don't
okay.
be telling people about that.
Yeah.
Well, how you think I'm looking good? I got to be good on the inside
Yeah.
for this to reflect outside.
Exactly.
Like, you're glowing. You
Exactly.
glow when you got to glow on the inside.
Yeah.
So this is part of your healing and your therapy journey.
Yes.
And if other people can't deal with that, then that's on them. They got to deal with their shit.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what I heard you say, and
Exactly.
I'm in full support of
Yes.
that. It, it took me years to get to that place
I'm
myself. Yeah, life is life. And what I love so much, like, I used to really struggle with things not going exactly according to plan.
yeah.
Like, things, I would get so frazzled.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like, I need to be on. I don't want people to think that I'm unprepared
Hmm.
or that I'm not professional. And the more I've done the work on myself to really liking
Yeah.
myself, the less I'm concerned with what, I mean, of course, I want to present myself in the best way possible, but I don't like worry about it as much because I'm good with myself
Yeah.
now. And so, to your point, like, your healing journey is yours, and if other people can't get with it or don't approve, that's on
Yeah.
them.
That's your issue. It's not my issue. It took me a minute to get there though. I'm not it took me a minute. It took
Yeah.
me a minute. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so much more weight on you. It's heavier on you when you don't let it get it off of you. I was talking to my sister the
Hmm.
other day. We were just laughing because we were like, wow, we have grown so much. We have grown. We have been intentional about our growth.
Hmm.
And to see us
Yeah.
today as opposed to years ago, oh my God, no. We are different people. So
Yeah.
just choosing to be your best self. And it is what it is. You gonna love me or you're not. And if you don't, that's your
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah. I'm gonna be good either way.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Deuces. It makes me think it makes me think a lot about, like, people talk a lot about their haters.
Hmm.
And one of the things I notice a lot in your content is that you really emphasize like personal accountability.
Mhm.
And I love it because so many people, and like you said earlier, there are some people who truly don't
Yeah.
like you. But we also have to ask ourselves, once you peep that, why are you still dealing with them?
Yeah.
And I like your content because you really one of the consistent messages, and it's not like in a condemnation sort of
Yeah.
way. It's very still very empowering, but you're like, hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable is what I see a lot. And so, how do you balance accountability with self love and compassion and grace? And when do you know you need to be tough on yourself?
Oh gosh.
The struggle is
It
real.
is. It is a struggle, but I can tell you something I'm experiencing in this moment is my weight loss journey. I have decided that it's me. It's not the
Yeah,
trainers. It's not, it's the
yeah,
choices I make. So
yeah,
before, it would be like three different ways I would handle this. The first time I'll be like, girl, I ain't worried about it. It is what it is. But I wouldn't feel good about myself. And it's not about getting skinny because
yeah.
that's not at all what I'm trying to say. And it's nothing wrong with being skinny
Mm-hmm.
either. It's nothing wrong with anybody's body,
Yeah,
however they want to do their body.
right.
I want to put that out there. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, in the beginning of my weight loss journey, I was just like, it is what it is. Because I was kind of just giving up on myself. And
Yeah.
what I would do is I would binge, you know, and then I will have my trainer try
Mm-hmm.
to work out, and then I'll say, "Oh, they're not working me the way they need to, and that's why I'm not losing the weight." It's not funny, but it's just kind of funny to hear it. Like, girl, you know, this
Yes.
is not true, or it's not true. Or I would do an extreme diet, maybe like smoothies, talking about 30-day smoothies or something, and be done with the smoothies by the third day.
Yeah.
So, and then I would feel bad and I would hate myself and feel like, oh, I'm not good enough or this is crazy. So I had to keep going through that. But I also had to
Yeah.
be honest with I had to be honest with myself first. And that means that, okay, what is your realistic, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your body? This is what I want to talk to myself about. What do you want to do? Okay, so is this real? Is this
Mhm.
a real thing that you can do? You know, you don't want to do a whole, fully low carb diet or whatever, or you don't want to do this particular thing.
Yeah.
Don't start something that you know you really can't finish, and don't blame anyone. Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Some things, you had a baby, you have all these different things, your husband can eat whatever he wants, those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's really just you. So hopefully that makes sense. Like I just want to keep
Yeah.
myself accountable. And the root of that is because I don't feel like I was raised around a lot of people that were accountable. I saw a lot of, you did this or you know what I mean? So I think that's why I'm really
Yeah.
big on accountability because I have to be honest with myself. So I feel like the way that I'm doing
Yeah.
that is to give myself balance, um, be honest with my growth and understand that I'm not going to lose 80 pounds within one day and it's going to be
Right.
okay. You know what I mean? To love
Mm-hmm.
myself, whether I feel like I used to always feel like when I looked at my old pictures of myself, I used to be like, oh, I look so beautiful back then. No, I'm beautiful today.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm fine
Yes.
today, and I'm gonna be fine tomorrow. Just kind of just
Yes.
accepting and loving myself from where I am, but at the same time saying these are your goals. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to be a little bit more consistent within what you've been. So that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing.
I love that.
And I don't just do that for weight loss. I do that for my personal goals, a lot of different things. My self love, just doing certain things that help me stay consistent even though I have kids, or
Mm-hmm.
even though I got to do this, or even though I have all these different responsibilities.
Yeah. And thank you for mentioning that it applies to everything,
Mhm.
and one of the things that, and I'm in the same boat in terms of the weight loss journey.
Mhm.
And for me, it's really thinking about how can I live the best life I want to have.
Yeah.
It's not even about necessarily a particular body,
Yeah.
but it's like, what is it? What is the best life I want to have? I like to travel.
Yeah.
I like to go, and I'm an adventure traveler.
Okay.
So I want to be able to go and climb and do all these different things. And that means I've got to have the physical endurance.
Yes.
I got to have the mobility to be able to do those things. And so it's like, I want to live my best life,
Yeah.
not just like look like I'm living my best life. I
Yes.
really want to live my best life,
Yes.
and having my body in the best condition it can be in is one of those things, those one of the requirements to let me be able to live my best life.
Yes.
And so when I frame it that way, that takes a lot of the superficial things out, but then it also helps me do what you just mentioned and look across the board at where I need to be consistent.
Yeah.
Because it's that consistency.
Yes.
It's like, when I'm super restrictive with myself, it doesn't last.
No, it
And then,
doesn't.
like you said, it's like, oh, Charlene, you just failed.
And then you start beating up
And
on
that's, yeah,
yourself.
yep,
And it's not a good place to be beating on yourself. I've done that. I've been too mean to myself at times. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't feel good, and there's research that shows that we perform better when we're in when the like negative reinforcement
mhm.
is not as compelling. That's not something that you're going to sustain, and you're not going to have the biggest impact. And so I need to remind myself of my why. What's the good thing? Like, not that because I'm going to be ashamed because I don't do this, but like, what's my why? I want to live a great life,
Yes.
however that looks for me in this season, because it changes,
Yes.
as life transitions.
Exactly.
And so I want to talk about like your life transitions, because you've relocated and years, like you haven't always lived in the same place. You got married and you're a mom and everything. You survived COVID.
Yes.
You have a business. So how has your relationship with yourself evolved as you've transitioned from being this single woman to being married and to being a mom?
Having more responsibility, and I mean more responsibility to my kids, but having a greater responsibility to myself. I know people always say, "Oh, you can't pour from an empty cup," and everybody hears that, but you truly cannot. And I feel like when I was single, I was kind of just like, doing my own thing. I didn't have to think about anybody. But I really
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of substance, if that makes any sense. Like I didn't,
Hmm.
I pretty much was just living. You know what I mean? If that, I hope that makes sense. Like I just kind of was just like going with
Hmm.
the flow. And now that
Yeah.
the transition from being a single woman to being a mother, my healing is so important to me because I don't want to repeat a lot of things that I experienced. So I
Yeah.
think about that all the time. How can I make sure that I am my full self? How can I be my best self? And I know that goes back to me only, but it really benefits my kids. It really benefits my husband. It benefits me. It
Yes.
benefits me. Um, so life is just I've tried to make sure, especially with therapy. Years ago, therapy
Mhm.
wasn't even in the forefront of my mind. I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
You just sitting there paying somebody for what? Talking? No. I made a year of therapy. I'm talking about consistent. Every week I have talked about every Wednesday, talk to my therapist. Every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's helped me become a better person. It's helped me shape who I am right now. I'm super confident in myself. I love myself. I love to be around other women that love themselves. The quality of
Yeah.
my life has changed so many ways.
Yeah. And I thank you for just even just sharing like your process
Hmm.
and the tools that you've used and the resources that you've used, because a lot of times people are we just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I know I grew up in my family. I did not see people practicing self care. I didn't even see self love for the most part.
No.
So when it came my turn to try to do things different, I had no clue
Yeah.
where to start. And so I started looking at other people who seem to have a better relationship with themselves and seeing like what is it that they're doing consistently
Hmm.
that I'm not doing, and what is it that doesn't feel good in my life, and how can I change those things.
Yeah.
Those were kind of my game changers. And so how did when but one of the things that when you start shifting in your life, the people around you aren't always on board or understanding that.
Hmm.
And so how did people react when you started to do this work on yourself and you started to transform, and how did you deal with their responses?
I got a lot of side eyes at first. Like I guess I would say, who does she think she is?
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for people that have known you for so long to see you try to transform because they got the same, y'all had the same experiences, y'all,
Yeah.
but you decided to change. If that makes any sense, like it's painful for
Hmm.
people to sometimes see you. Like, I know you, we used to
Yeah.
be in diapers together, but you're changing. You had it maybe even worse than me, and you still decided
Yeah.
to keep going forward. So how did I
Yeah.
deal with that? I talked to my therapist about it. I cried about it. I
Yeah.
journal. I am a huge advocate for journaling. To get those thoughts out of
Yeah.
your head and to put them on paper is powerful.
Yeah.
It's also powerful to go back months and months later to see it because you can see your growth. Um,
Yeah.
I'm a very sensitive person. I'm a very loving person. So to see
Yeah.
people that kind of look at you crazy or make you feel like, oh, you think you're better than us or whatever, I first I hear it, I write it down to get
Yeah.
it off of me, and I let it be. That's how I handle it because I can't
Yeah.
fight everybody and I can't get distracted. You know what I mean? Like, I really honestly feel
Hmm.
like where I'm going in my life is so much
Yeah.
bigger than that little rock that's thrown. You know what I mean? Or the opinions of
Yeah.
others. It really, if I can't handle those opinions right now, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to handle what's really for me. So
Yes.
I think I just continue to journal, go to therapy, depend on my support system heavily, pray,
Yeah.
pray so much. I pray a lot. I'm always
Yeah.
praying. And my
Yes.
prayers are not like the extreme holy prayers or anything like that, but I have good conversations with God, just like, help me with this, or this is how I feel. I try to make sure that I'm just taking those feelings, those sad feelings that's inside of me and taking them out or getting them out of me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that you're able to carve out this space for yourself, not just time-wise, but emotionally and
Yeah.
mentally, to be able to carve out that so that you can make your healing and your wellness and your happiness a priority.
Yeah.
And we know that that's hard a lot of times for a lot of moms because I hear moms say, "Well, my kids come first and I can't take care of me because I'm so busy taking care of my kids." So, how have you been able to overcome that mindset and make you a priority?
For me, I had to learn. I feel like, I don't know if you ever heard this before, but people be like, the second child is easier, or the things that you did with the first child, you don't
Yeah.
do. Because when I first
Mm-hmm.
had my son, he was like this delicate little baby, like, oh, nobody's gonna take my baby. You know what I mean? Like, this is my child. You know what I'm saying? And with my second
Yeah.
child, I was like, I mean, of course, I'm still this protective mother of my
Yeah.
kids no matter what, but I was a little bit more
Yeah.
relaxed with her, if that makes any sense. But
Yes.
how do I do it? I have seen myself like at my lowest, and my husband
Yeah.
has been a huge advocate. I'm able to communicate with him. I'm able to say, I'm not feeling it today. You have the kids. I'm able
Yeah.
to say that. So I think you have to start with your community. And I do understand that everybody is not blessed to
Yeah.
have a partner who is going to partner with them. So I would say you
Yeah.
have to lean on the people that are in your community. And maybe you don't have a good relationship with your sister. Sometimes your best sisters or your best relationships are people that are not in your family. And
Mm-hmm.
the beauty in that is you get to create a relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? You don't get to choose your family, but you can choose your
Yeah.
friends who create that become your family. So I
Yes.
try to make sure that I'm over communicating. Anything, I don't care. I'm not worried about how it comes out. I'm just worried. I just want to be able to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and then I also make sure that, I know this is probably going to sound a little weird, but I sometimes wait until my kids are asleep. They have a sleep schedule. So basically, they go to bed at 8 o'clock. Now at 9, that's my time. I even told my husband, we laughed about it. I said, I'm off work. I'm off work. I'm off work. and
Off the clock.
I'm off the clock. So he knows. He's like, okay, and I try to do this at least once or twice a week. I run myself a bath. I play I love jazz. I play jazz. And I'm journaling. I'm in the tub, but like beside the tub right now, right now, writing the things that I want, thinking. Sometimes I sit there and cry. I just kind of just have a glass of wine. I wind down. And even though this seems so simple, it really has helped me a lot. It really has helped me really find that balance and take care of me. Even if I know
Yeah.
you probably never heard this before, but no, you probably heard it. It's all social media. People have been talking about it. But basically, when you drive up to your house and you sit in the driveway for 15 minutes,
Yes, I do that. I don't have. I have cat. I used to have two cats, but I have cats. I do that. Yeah,
that
I understand.
life changing. Just because as soon as I walk in the
Yes.
door, it's mommy, 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 mommy,
Yeah.
mommy, mommy. Last
Hmm.
thing, getting out the house. Getting out the house. You got to get out of this. To the mothers, out the house. I don't care. Leave them with the baby. Somebody safe. Leave them with somebody safe. And
Yeah.
go 2 hours. Put your phone on do not disturb. Don't turn it off, but put on do not disturb. You know,
Hmm.
just to be out, to get, have something for
Yeah.
yourself. And that's something I had to really, really learn with my first child. I just was like, no, I'm in the house. It's okay. No, my life is not over because I have kids now. If I do not do what is best for Ashley, I am no good to these kids. It's just the truth. So I think mothers need to start thinking of that more. Like, how can I be my best self for my kids? How can I be my best self for myself?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you just gave a whole sermon to mothers and just anyone who care. I mean, a lot of Black women, even those who don't have kids, are caregivers and just doing so much for so many other people. Whether it's their parents, a lot of us are in that generation where we have parents or extended family members that we may be helping care for. And just that message that you just gave, that you have to carve out that time, like for real,
Yes.
whether it's for therapy or for you to just go have a drink with your
Yeah.
friends or to go to the gym,
Go to the gym.
or binge on Netflix. Like, you gotta have that time, or to journal,
Yeah.
like, or to take a bath. Like, those
Yes.
simple things
Yes.
mean so much.
Yeah. It's been a
They really
journey.
do.
I've been learning to do that. Um, I had to I had to really force myself at times too. It's the craziest thing, and I do feel like it's learned behavior. I feel like we
Yeah.
see our mothers or our caregivers run themselves into the ground. So we think, oh, I could
Hmm.
do that too. No, it's not the same. We don't have to. We can find a community of people, and I pray we can find a community of people because I know everybody, I don't want to put everything in a blanket statement because everybody's experience is different.
Yeah.
But you can try to
Yeah.
find a community of people that can kind of take the weight off of you, in different ways.
Yeah.
And it's true, it's not just mothers. I have a lot of friends that don't have kids and they have maybe double the things that I have to do. So I never want to take away from
Yeah.
anybody's experience, but just trying to find time for yourself is really just the goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so, what if, before we start talking about all the amazing things you are doing and your business with empowering women with self-care, I want to ask you, so what is some things that Black women can do so that we can be better allies and support for other Black women? Like, how do we show up for one another better?
I think that Black women already do so good with saying, yes, girl, okay, yellow. You know how we are in the
Yeah.
comment sections.
Yes.
We are the cheerleaders, okay?
Yes.
But I feel like how we can get off of social media and actually physically be in our own communities, helping each other, is to call people. Hey, girl, I was just thinking about you. How are you?
Yes.
How you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking in. I think that is a big thing. Um,
Yeah.
People are going through a lot in the
Yeah.
house by themselves. It's a beautiful thing to hear somebody call you. Hey, I didn't want nothing. I'll just call and make sure you're all right. Simple
Hmm.
conversations like that, or maybe a text. Maybe you're not a phone person, but just texting. Um,
Yeah.
Asking people how their businesses are going. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do?
Hmm.
Maybe you don't have the money to do it, but maybe you could share something,
Yeah.
or word of mouth. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I think that's a good way for us to. help each other and be there for each other. I think those are great ways to be there for each other.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And how can we be part of all the things that you're doing? What's on the horizon with your business?
Okay, so I was telling you before. I'm trying not to be emotional, but I have decided, earlier in the year, I was just like, no, 2 years ago, no, about a year ago, I want to say. That's when I started feeling this feeling of you need to do an event. You need to do an event. You need to do, and I continue to think about it. I overthink it. I pushed it back. Okay, I'm peeking to do this, and then I didn't. And this year I said, no, ma'am, you will do this. You're gonna figure it out on your way up. So I
Yeah.
created a self love brunch, and it was yesterday I finalized on the event space. So I have an exact event space. It's going to be August 6th, 2022, from 12 to 2.
Yay.
And I'm just so happy. I'm just so proud of me.
Yes.
I feel like I've been on in these social media streets for a long time, and I feel like my
Yeah.
audience wants to reach out and hug me. I feel like my audience wants to see me physically. Like,
I do. Yeah. I so y'all, we started talking about this before we started recording, and I was like, "Is this gonna be in Atlanta? I'm gonna come to Atlanta, like me
mhm,
and my cousins." And so, like, yeah, I'm coming to this because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'll get to meet her, and then come to this nice brunch, and then bring
yes,
some of my family and everything." Like, oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm some of those people who want to see
yay,
you and meet you and hug and
yes.
all that good
And
stuff.
I'm definitely a hugger, so I'm like, I want to hug people, and I know with the pandemic and
Yes,
everything, it's been crazy, but that's what I have coming up. That's going to be my first event of the year. I'm already working on the second one, but that's the first event, August 6th,
yes,
2022. Um, so
yeah,
definitely get your tickets. You can get, I'm going to make sure I put it on the website by tomorrow so everybody can get their tickets. What else is going on? I am on a weight loss journey. I
yes,
and I'm just trying to work that into my Her Glow, which is a community of women that I put together. I don't know if you follow that, but it's a community that
yeah,
where I'm supposed to be doing monthly events. But I really want to keep that
mhm,
virtual until I kind of get that
yeah,
together. But it's really just a
mhm,
lot of different women on a healing journey, just like me. So
yeah,
I'm just excited. Like I just have a lot coming up as far as just coming together. That first event is going to be the Kickstarter. Of course, I'm working on
yeah.
my book. That
Oh my goodness, girl, yes. I'm here for all of
this
it.
has
Yes.
been it's different
Wow.
to really think about something and just seeing it form. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I'm just ready just to give everything that I have. I want to show people that you can have a
Yeah.
dream and you can really make it happen.
Yes.
You got to just keep pursuing it. You got to
Yeah.
keep going. So that's what's going on with me. My event, my book is coming out, date pending on the book. Having
Okay.
more events in Atlanta, being able to hug people, being able to create that community here. So that's what I'm super excited about.
Yeah. My gosh. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Like, yay. Like, yay. Seriously. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And yeah. Yeah. This there's so much amazing on the horizon for you, and even as you progress along this journey, I mean, enjoy every moment. A lot of times we think about the goal, but I love because I can see that you're enjoying the
Yeah.
process, because the process is so fruitful as well.
Yes.
So I love this for you, and I'm really excited for the brunch and for the book and just everything else, the things that you haven't yet even envisioned,
Oh, thanks.
because there's more. Yes.
I like that.
So
I'm about to cook.
I'm here for you. Yes, yeah, it's coming. It's
I love
coming.
that.
So yes, celebrate it in advance. Yes.
Well, thank
Where can
you.
you share your website and your social media info? It will be in the description box for those watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast app. But I want you to share it here for the folks who are like so excited and they're like, let me go on her website and her social media right now.
Okay, y'all. So y'all can go to my website. It's actually swain.com. And you can go my handle on Instagram. It's Ashley Swain. Everything is pretty much it's Ashley Swain. You can find me. Yeah, so you can find me on there. And my Facebook is actually Ashley Swain. It's not it. So Facebook, Ashley Swain. My website, it's ashleyswain.com. My Instagram handle, it's Ashley Swain. So you can check me on there. I am, I post pretty much every day. So y'all, I'll
Yeah.
always have something good for you to engage
Yes.
with. So yeah, check me out.
Yeah. And you're one of the few who actually shows up in my news feed. You know, the algorithm is so crazy,
Oh,
but you're one of the few who actually show up. And maybe it's because I was engaging with your content like even before.
yeah,
And so the algorithm knows that. But I always look forward to seeing your post. And so just keep doing what you're doing and living in your joy and sharing your joy and just your life
yes,
with us. Because you're helping and encouraging folks that probably never will reach out because not everybody's going to tell you how you blessing
yeah.
them, but you are,
Yeah, I
you are.
appreciate that. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're
I really,
welcome.
really do. I appreciate you even reaching out to me like to do this. Like I was like, what?
Thank
This is
you.
great.
Yeah, thank you for saying yes. Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully I can
So
come on the
I will
next one.
have.
Next time, maybe I could be another episode. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay. I'm gonna be calling you back. There's so much to talk about. Yes, I will, and I'm really excited about this brunch. I'm gonna have to text my
Oh,
cousins, be like, mark your calendars.
yes.
So that'll be great for me to be able to hang out with my family because I'll get to see some people that I haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
since before COVID.
Yeah. Oh,
Man,
wow.
because I don't know if I'll get to go hang out with them
Okay.
before then. So that's why I'm like, and I have other friends and people down. So that's I'm like, okay, now I have to come to
Yes. Now you
Atlanta
have to
then.
come.
So I'm really excited about this
Yes.
for you and selfishly, like for me to see other people
Well, I'm
too.
happy to. I was just happy to see you and see everybody. Like,
Yeah,
I think this is going to be so fun. And I really was
it
trying to be
is.
really intentional when it came to this brunch. I didn't want. I've been to a lot of events, but I didn't want it to be just the photo op. No, we're going to take some good pictures though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wanted it to be meaningful. I wanted people to walk
Yeah.
away with something, you know? I wanted
Yes.
I just wanted it to be something dope, like where it was just like, wow, this
Yeah.
is really good. We really learned something. We really learned something about ourselves. And I'm really
Yeah.
gonna take this self-love journey to a next level. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it
Yes.
just to be another brunch. I want it to make an impact, and it will. I just already know it.
It will.
I already know it.
It will.
So
Because you're declaring it and because it's coming from your heart,
yeah,
it will.
yeah.
So, no worries about
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
So, thank you again. And for the audience, all of Ashley's info is in the description box. Make sure y'all are following her and make sure you keep an eye out for the brunch details
Yes,
because I would love to see as many people there as possible.
yes.
So, thank you so much. And we will definitely be chatting
You're
again.
so welcome. Thanks for having